Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to experiment with some fonts. So this is the point where we're going to start making our combined initial. So the first step is to try 4 different fonts with both your first and last initial. So this is where you would have to start trying things out. Now, one thing you do need to be aware of, because your letters are going to be so big, they need to be bubble. So that means you can just kind of draw around like that, or you could do, where I draw this, and then I can draw around on both sides. And then erase the inside. Sometimes that comes out a little better. See how my S is kind of wonky, but my C looks much better. So putting that inside letter and then erasing the outside. So let's see. Let's try. If you are having trouble coming up with some fonts, feel free to use the fonts in the font packets, which is where I'm getting this font right here from. Let's see, we got the kind of stencil-y font. So you're going to try this 4 different ways. Maybe I'll do something a little bit more blocky. Make sure all of them have an inside. And an outside. This is your chance to experiment. I don't know, let's maybe make this one a cloud. Now you're going to pick your 2 favorite. I actually like the first 2 that I did. I like this one and I like this one. And then each of them is going to go to one side of your worksheet. So this font is going to go in these 2 boxes. This font is going to go in these 2 boxes. So we're going to start going down this way. Now, in this section, you're going to combine the initials in 2 different ways. Now, ways of combining are up on the board, the brainstorming board. So you can substitute, you can combine, you can adapt, you can magnify, you can put to other uses, you can eliminate, and you can rearrange. One thing you do want to make sure you don't just want your letters to sit next to each other. That is not creative and not really combined. So, what you may want to do is, let's see if I take that S, and maybe I combine the S and the C. So then I take the C, and maybe I eliminate this part of the S for that part of the C. So let's see. So we do this. Remember, they still have to be block. So that line. So now my letters have combined. They've become one letter with both letters in it. And it's one big symbol. Alright, so now I have to come up with another way. Maybe this time I do... maybe I flip them. So I do the S and I flip the C, so it kind of, let's try that again. So let's do it this way instead of making it fancy and going sideways. And then I do the C this way, so now I gotta make them bubble, make it bubble. So I've got my S and my C, and they're touching here and here, so they're combined. I've flipped the C around. Alright, so now let's try this one over here. Now, how can I could maybe merge them, so I could take that part of the S and maybe put the C right next to it. So I merge those parts, so I'm combining. And then I put my S parts and my C parts. So I'm combining them that way. Or maybe I adapt a part. So I do the C first and make this C become part of that S. So I've got that and then that. So I'm combining that and that. Okay? So now you take your two favorites from this section. I like this one a lot. So I'm doing now I draw it even bigger. Make sure it still fills the box. Draw it nice and big. Put my C back here. Erase my line. Erase this part. So get rid of that part, and I added that part. Now that I've drawn it nice and big, this time I need to put a pattern inside my letters. So maybe because I like this curly Q, I put a pattern. Remember, the definition of a pattern is something that repeats. So you need to make sure whatever you do, you repeat it and fill up the space inside. This is why we made them boxes or bubble letters, so that we're filling the space inside. Eventually we are going to put a pattern outside, but you don't have to worry about that now. Right now we're just worried about the letters themselves. So make that pattern, go through the entire inside. And I'm not going to make you watch me do this pattern inside. So, but you can see what I'm doing, finish filling it up. Give you an idea of the second one, so I'll choose, I kind of like this one here. So this one goes down. I draw my... Now remember, this does not have to be perfect. These are just brainstorms. We do this guy, and maybe this time I put like puzzle pieces. That's kind of fun. So I'm filling up the space inside, and I'm going to do the entire inside. Alright, so now you need to take this worksheet and figure out what your combined initials will be.